Why did I get fired from my truck driving job? Alright, this is when I was hauling for a local company or out of Spanish Fork. I was with them just a little over a year and 3 months, I can't remember, but they put me on a load in Northern California hauling 5-gallon buckets of stucco, cement or something was in it. And you're supposed to use big, long lumber. What are they? V-boards? Can't remember what they're called. But they're pretty long, so a pallet of 5-gallon buckets. It's gonna go across the whole pallet section, and all I had was little tin metal ones. Pretty much fit on one bucket and overlap just a little bit, but it wasn't good enough and it's a tarp load. But I had been sick and I didn't have all my strength, so when I tied down the load, I might have put some crank down onto it, but the bucket started, if I put too much, it was digging into and pressing down, and so that's probably why I didn't put that. I just didn't have the right stuff to all that load, and I should have turned them down and been like, but I was sick, sitting in San Diego, and then somehow, I don't know if they ran me all the way from San Diego. I think I went up to get a load in Orange. I was pretty close to the Bay Area. I was in like on 99 or 5, and then they sent me into right next to, close to Oakland. I can't remember the city. It might come to me, but my dispatch, the lady, she never, when I asked questions and tried to get information from her, it was just like, yeah, she would just not really want to talk to me, because I questioned her about not having the right equipment. I told her, and she's, let me call. They'll say they call and they don't. And so yeah, I ended up asking the forklift driver. I'm like, is this gonna be okay? And he's just like, because at first he's asking me, don't you have a better, you know, something better? I told him this is all I have, and he just was like, okay. And I tarped it, and I should have put an extra strap up front, going with 2 extra straps up front. But I was like, I finally got a load, and I was like wanting to get out of California because I'd been sitting there, and I was just like, once you get loaded, then you want to get rolling. But the thing of it is, I had another issue with it. Just the truck in front of me kept brake checking me. It was like he kept falling behind, and he was afraid to keep going. It's like, you know when people are just messing with you, because I should have just pulled off the damn road and let him go get, because we were going down like a canyon hill area, and he just kept, there's plenty of room for him to go, but he was just one of those grandma drivers. You never know. They're just messing with you. So I was brake checking kind of, and my load was probably just from kept having to press down on the brakes. I'm shifting that load. It just took one time just pressing too hard on the brakes, and that load just moved forward, and it was leaning. It didn't fall over, but I was like, great. I pulled over and I had to untarp. My tarp was holding it together, and that was a joke. I had to lift up all these buckets, get my tarp undone. It was pressed up, fell onto the tarp. You know, it was just like I had to dig out these buckets, take the straps off, get it untied in your tarp, and I was putting them on the ground next to me where I pulled off, where there was enough room, and I just stacked I just put a big pile of them right in front of, you know, where the pallet was. I don't even know if that put me over. I didn't check my load. It could have. Well, I got through the scales okay when I got to Utah, but that took a while. That was a pain, and that just set me off. I was calling my company. I'm like, what should I do? Should I take it back? I'm like, I was just like really mad because what happened, you know. And then the owner couldn't get me in. He's just like, call a tow truck. I'm like, why would I call a tow truck? To have them tow me something? I need help. I need to know if I need to take this back to the company. I was calling the company. I told them I don't know if I got a hold of them, or I was asking them, well, did she tell you that I didn't have the right stuff? I was frustrated. I was pissed, and I was going off on everyone. I was just like, this is ridiculous, you know, because stuff like that shouldn't have happened. But then I was like, wow, why didn't I just put those extra straps across, you know, some 2-inch, because I ended up having to do that when I fixed the load. But then I'm like, I was telling my guys at the company, I'm gonna just take this back to them, tell them to take it off me. I'm not gonna haul it. Which what I should have done, and they're just like, no, get it to Ogden, hurry up. I was just like, this is a joke. But then I ended up just putting all those buckets down in front stack, and I got it to where I put more straps on it to where I felt like it was going to be okay, and I just tried to take it as easy as possible. So then I get to Ogden, and I unpilled the tarp, and I'm going like, yeah, it's a mess, isn't it? Because the guy looked at it and he's like, what happened? They had already called him, and they told him what was going on. I knew they were getting this load. If not, then your company, they don't communicate well. And then I was just like, hey, not my problem. I was already really mad and frustrated why I still had the load on me, and I got it there dogged, and then the guy started cussing me out, and I'm just like, I thought he was gonna lay into me, and like I was trying to fold up my tarp, and I was like, this is ridiculous. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not touching it. He's like, because he's made a comment like, you better call someone to help you, because that's going to take you a while. I'm like, I'm not touching that stuff, because you're going to have to do it all by hand. I'm like, yeah, right. So I was folding up my tarp. I got my tarp undone, and then I just hurried and put the landing gear down and unhooked from my trailer, and I'm like, I got out of there. I left the tarps there because they're companies. I let whoever was going to come deal with it, and I went to a truck stop and I waited, and then my company's calling me, and he's like, where are you at? I'm like, I'm sitting at a truck stop waiting for that place to call me, or someone to call me to tell me when I can go pick up the empty trailer when they're done unloading it, you know, because they wanted me to unload it, and they knew I didn't have the right equipment to even pick it up, and I shouldn't even have taken it there, because he's like, we've never seen it. I'm like, yeah, right. Don't tell me this is the first time you've ever had an issue like this. And I was looking at it, and I was like, they could have got up on top of it and used their feet to press to make them, because they were leaning. The pallets were leaning, and just the front had, like the front top of the trailer, the buckets had just fallen over, were just pressed up onto the tarp, and I had to take those off. And so I'm pretty sure they just pushed them over onto the pallet after they got a pallet jack and was scooting them, and didn't have to do them one by one. But I was so mad, and I left, and then the guy's just like, the owner's like, get your ass back down here in the Spanish Fork. And so when I did, then they're like, you're fired. I'm like, You guys are nuts. You put stuff on me and you don't. It's